Man, Toy Story 5 was a fun ride. In some ways, made me feel like I was a little kid again seeing the first one. And, in some ways, the plot points are similar with Jesse kind of as like the new Woody for it. And then you have the new toy come in who threatens their way of life, except this time instead of like an odd couple sort of way with Buzz and Woody, where their relationship is definitely antagonistic. Buzz isn't really the antagonist of the first one, and then when you watch the newest one, it's like, yeah, there's not this like back and forth between Jesse and Lily Pad. Lily Pad is just the antagonist. But there was another thought that I had with this movie, one that I definitely was not expecting to have, and that's how does this movie fit into the Pixar theory? For those of you who need a reminder or have never heard of the Pixar theory, the idea is that every movie that Pixar has made takes place in one universe over a very long timeline, starting with The Good Dinosaur and ending with Monsters Inc., with Elemental kind of being a harder one to place for that just because it doesn't really exist on our plane of existence. Whoa, it's okay, Wade. Still love your movie, just don't know if I should start my watch with it or finish my watch with it. But my point is that it is kind of weird to be asking this question about Toy Story 5 because as soon as any one of those movies fits into the Pixar theory, they all do. It's one series for it. So what could have happened in Toy Story 5 that leads me to wonder what changes for the Pixar theory based off what we see just in Toy Story 5? Well, when the first trailer dropped, I wondered how Lily Pad was going to be coming to life the same way that toys do, because yes, she's obviously a children's toy, she's a tablet that's made for kids, but what about a tablet that's made for adults, or even somebody's smartphone? Would that also be able to come to life, or is it just because she's a tablet that's made for kids? And after seeing the movie, you know that it's not just Lily Pad that's able to come to life because she's the new tech toy. No, we're able to see some outdated tech toys come to life too, because we see Snappy, Atlas, and Smarty Pants be able to come back to life after they get their batteries, and they're able to talk to Jessie. But again, these are toys that are designed for a kid because Blaze was playing with them when she was presumably a toddler. So maybe it's just that, hey, if a piece of technology is designed to be used as a children's toy, then that's what's able to make it come to life. The problem is, in Toy Story 5, Blaze is now 9 or 10. These toys have been ignored for years now, but as soon as they have their batteries, they're able to come back to life, walk around, talk to Jessie, just like they would have a few years ago. And the one thing that we know toys fear the most is being forgotten, which does make sense because, they're toys. They're not really functionally mortal beings. They don't have a heart beating or anything like that. So they don't really have to fear death the same way that we do, or even second death. What toys have to fear most is the final death. I also feel like Toy Story 5 yada yada this part when Lily has the toys all sent to the garage because, it's one thing if she has them sold or donated or something, they miss Bonnie, but they have another kid that's playing with them. But this way, they're just going to get forgotten, and this is basically a death sentence for toys. And this is where it starts to become a question for the Pixar theory, because part of the theory is that humans create life with their emotions and memories. That's why the toys are able to come to life in Toy Story. It's why the cars are able to live in Cars. It's why the fish are able to live in the less polluted areas in Finding Nemo. And there is also a spiritual level to this where, it's these beings gaining souls. It's also why it implies that Wall-E has a soul in Wall-E, because Earth is able to grow plants again because of his presence. And then it also implies that Toy Story 4 is the story of Woody gaining a soul for himself. And with the forgotten tech toys, you could argue that it's not just the batteries that brings them back to life, it's being in Jessie's presence as she's on her own journey to obtaining a soul like Woody's, and because they're around her, that's what brings them back to life. But even then, there's still an example of toys coming to life in Toy Story 5 that really doesn't make sense given what we know about the Pixar theory. Yeah, I'm making this really soon after seeing the movie, so I don't want to risk any copyright strikes from using this clip too soon, but if you saw the movie or are just watching this stuff and don't care about spoilers, you know I'm talking about the 50 Buzz Lightyears. We're introduced to these space rangers by seeing them wash up on an island after their ship crashes somewhere in the ocean. Which, by the way, I love that this movie starts with a Castaway reference, and given that Buzz and Woody go back to having a slightly antagonistic relationship in this one, it is really funny to say, hey, let's start with a Tom Hanks movie, but have it be Tim Allen who we're putting in the role. But the problem with them being on this island is there are no humans to be able to bring them to life initially. They all just bring each other to life, and there's not even another toy around who could be giving them this life because they're on their own soul-searching journey. These buzzes aren't aware that they're toys yet. Also, they all get along and work together great, which is weird because if you remember in Toy Story 2, we have a Buzz Lightyear fighting our Buzz so that he can impersonate him. Are you telling me that with 50 Buzz Lightyears, not one of them thinks that this could be a trick? No, let's just all rendezvous with Star Command. It's not weird that there are 49 other beings exactly like me. There's no way this could be a trick from Zurg. And before they receive their true mission to bring joy to kids, one of them already goes on this journey and ends up joining a family. The instincts of a toy still outweigh the instincts of being a space ranger, and that's something that takes a whole movie for our Buzz to be able to accept. But there is something that separates these new Buzz Lightyears from our Buzz, from all the Buzzes that we saw at Al's Toy Barn. These Buzzes are also technology. They're LilyPad compatible. So these new Buzz Lightyears show that they are very intelligent and are able to learn things at a much higher rate than normal toys are able to. And it's not the first example we have of technology being able to quickly learn things in the Pixar universe. Your instinct may be to say, hey, let's look at WALL-E, and you are right, I just want to touch more on that later because our first examples, whether chronologically with the Pixar theory or by release date of AI and higher levels of technology, is actually in The Incredibles, as Syndrome is able to develop technology that is able to learn from its battles against superheroes until it's eventually able to outwit them. And then we get to the second Incredibles movie, which again has this same theme, as Evelyn uses technology to mind control the superheroes so that they are no longer thinking. And this is Bonnie's immediate reaction to getting her LilyPad. Just mindlessly playing with it, no need to think or be particularly creative with her toys anymore, at least when compared to a child playing with toys anyway, I guess. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. You know the difference between brain rot and creative content. That's why you're here after all. Unrelated, you should hit the subscribe button.
No, I don't think I will.
But that's what technology does in the Pixar universe. It makes it so you no longer have to think. That's the theme for it no matter what movie that you're looking at. And if that's the case, then Toy Story 5 is actually the story of how technology is continuing to evolve and is using the same power that toys do to come to life to make itself even more powerful. And if that's the case, then there are a lot of things down the line in the Pixar theory that make even more sense. Because in WALL-E, it may be the Axiom's directive to keep the humans alive, but we do know that Otto can ignore directives because when shown the plant that was grown on Earth, he's able to ignore this directive and work against the humans so that they won't return to Earth. So if Otto can pick and choose what directives it wants to follow, then why even keep the humans alive? I mean, it seems like kind of a plot hole in the movie, but if we look at Toy Story 5 as this continued evolution of tech and toys combining, then the axiom is keeping the humans alive because it needs the humans to be able to continue to function. Oh my god, did I just turn Wall-E into the Matrix?
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
And that is how these new technologically advanced toys are able to come to life in Toy Story 5, because it's not just one-to-one with the older toys anymore. They're not just toys, they're also tech, and that's going to be a big problem for humans in the future of the Pixar universe. Hopefully not also ours too, but now I want to shift the question to you. What's your favorite Pixar movie? Personally, the first Toy Story movie will always hold a special place in my heart, and even if 5 isn't the best one, it is still a really good movie. It just kind of suffers from like how great Pixar movies can be, and especially how great the first 3 Toy Story movies are, and it just kind of suffers more so from that. If it didn't have the name, it would otherwise just be a great movie for it. But that's all I got for you guys today. So if you enjoyed, please drop a like, subscribe if you want more like this. I'll see you next time on STV.